Your key reading this week is about writer-based versus reader-based prose. And that's what I want to focus on particularly in this week conference. So let's take a look at thread number 2, writer-based prose versus reader-based prose. Your assignment is simply this: to post your response to this question right here. What are the essential differences between this thing called writer-based prose and reader-based prose, sometimes called writer-based writing or reader-based writing? And you are to provide your answers in a table, and not just any table, a table that has been designed to be attractive to your particular audience. And for this week, let's consider your audience me and the fellow students in this class. Now, your primary reading for this week is a very long PDF by Linda Flowers entitled Writing Reader-Based Prose, and that PDF is from a book entitled Problem-Solving Strategies for Writing. I want you to look especially at strategies 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is where the author, Linda Flowers, gets down to business. The pedal hits the metal, the rubber meets the road, and these are the 4 essential strategies that she gives for creating reader-based prose. If those are the 4 essential strategies for creating reader-based prose, those strategies would be a good place to begin to find the differences between reader-based prose and writer-based prose. A little bit of a heads up there. Okay, I've also given you some other resources. Right here is a website that also talks about the differences between writer-based prose and reader-based prose. Let me kind of take the mystery out of this and give you the difference between the two in a summary form. Writer-based prose is prose written without a consideration of the audience. So virtually anything goes, because the only person worried about reading it is the writer, and often that teacher you're turning it into. Yes, you have probably been writing writer-based prose throughout your academic career. You didn't really have an audience. It was you writing something and turning it in for a grade. As members of the professional workplace, you know that you have an audience and you must communicate clearly to that audience. So what we're going to be doing in this conference is looking really, really closely at some of the underlying strategies, tips, and tricks that will allow you to better communicate with your particular audience. And that's what reader-based prose is all about. Now, your assignment is simply this: to create a table delineating the differences between writer-based prose and reader-based prose, just like the one you see here. And let's take a look at this table. Notice that it uses big, bold, looks like 18-point Tahoma there. Cannot mistake that that's a title. Over here in the left, in a different color, comes the different criterion that the two forms of prose are going to be compared upon. First criterion, who does it work for? And then we have the two answers, writer, reader, and writer. What is the focus of the writing? Criterion number 2. The focus in writer-based prose is the writer's discovery process, finding out what it is you want to say, whereas the focus in reader-based prose is the focus on a shared problem, goal, or purpose that is shared between you, the writer, the communicator, and your audience. And so it goes. And these PDFs, by the way, are also an excellent way to find some more differences that you may wish to focus on whenever you do your table. So let's take down this table, and that's an excellent table. This is a so-so table here, and I kind of wanted to tell you why it's so-so. Notice that there are numbers on both sides, but what do those numbers refer to? Simply a list. So all I know, all these numbers tell me, is that there are 11 differences. I don't know what those differences are based upon. Are they based upon strategy, focus, tone, vocabulary? So the sequential list here is not being used very effectively. Something else that I want to show you. This writer does a good job of maintaining parallelism in this first point, written from the writer's point of view, the writer's needs and goals, written from the reader's point of view. Okay, both start with the phrase written from thee, and that gives them parallelism. But look what happens in number 2 here. I lose my parallelism. The goal, that is the writer's reason for writing, across from that, establishes a goal that is shared between the audience and reader. Those two things have to be parallel because they occupy parallel places on a list. They both should be the goal is, or they both should be establishes a goal that is. They must be parallel. Let's try another one. Number 3, excellent parallelism here. Uses terms and phrases that are familiar, uses terms and phrases that are familiar to the audience and the writer. Okay, good parallelism. Number 4, does not include why the document should be read. Look at a supposedly parallel item. Quickly identifies why the audience should read. Those should be parallel. If this one reads, does not include why the document should be read, this one should be, does include why the audience or why the document should be read by the audience. They have to be parallel. Look at number 5. Considers only the needs of the writer. This one should be, considers the common needs of the reader and the writer. You see how those must be parallel. Doesn't matter which one they're parallel to. They just both have to be the same. That was a problem that I'm seeing in your paper number 1 in your list of communication inhibitors and how you define them. You've got to maintain parallelism in a list. Okay, there's your assignment. As usual, if you have any questions about it, shoot me an email and I'll be checking in on the thread throughout the week to give you feedback. Okay, talk to you guys later.